back to Nnscra Radio here on 1620 WCBM Nelson, New York. Just to pique my own interest, I ended up looking up during the break to see if Jeff Gordon had ever won at Kentucky, and apparently he has not. So he will be ending his career having not won at every track currently on the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series schedule. He ended up winning 2012 at Homestead, but never won at Kentucky since it debuted into the schedule, so that will be the one track that Gordon will not have claimed a trip to Victory Lane. Anyway, speaking of Victory Lane, there were a couple of drivers who might have been able to give Gordon a run for his money for a trip to Victory Lane here last night at Martinsville. Most notably, Joey Logano, who has been on a 3-race winning streak, sweeping all the races of the contender round. Or was it the eliminator round? I don't remember what these rounds are called. I guess it's contender, eliminator, challenger. I might be wrong. But anyway, it doesn't really matter. We'll just say it round 2, sweeping all of round 2. And then being up front for a good portion of the Martinsville race. However, some circumstances working out not in his favor, namely picking up a rival in the form of Matt Kenseth. And it's very interesting, the rivalry that really has gone on between the Gibbs drivers and the Penske drivers, which I think a lot of it stems all the way back from that whole incident. You'll remember when, I think it was at Richmond, Matt Kenseth and Brad Keselowski ended up getting into it between the driver haulers. And I'm trying to remember, I think that actually was last season, just when the chase began. But, you know, it seems like that rivalry has never gone away. You saw where Denny Hamlin and Matt Kenseth last week at Dega, they ended up stating that that the wreck was caused on purpose by Kevin Harvick. So, you know, a little bit of a rivalry thing maybe going on there. I don't know. But it really just seems like Penske and Gibbs have not really been on friendly terms for quite a few years. But it all seemed to really come to a head in yesterday's race. Joey Logano leading the event. Matt Kenseth had gotten caught up in a wreck earlier, which actually we should talk about first, the wreck with Matt Kenseth. Now, some people may state, and I believe Kenseth actually alluded to it in his interview after coming out of the Infield Care Center, where he said that he felt that the two of Brad Keselowski turned him around on purpose. Now, I've looked at several camera angles, and I've tried to find evidence to try and support Matt Kenseth's claim, and quite honestly, I couldn't find it. As far as it was going, you know, Brad Keselowski, Joey Logano had a bit of a system worked out where the two of them were trying to get out 1-2. One would take the lead, the other one would play defense, which was a very sound strategy, you know, in an attempt to make both of them be able to have a good day, one of them get to victory lane, and both of them be contenders in the next 2 weeks to make it into the Final Four at Homestead. Which, you know, I can't fault that strategy by any means, especially when you're a two-car team, and both of your cars are able to run up at the front. But the whole incident with Kenseth, from what I saw, it looked like the contact that took place was basically just racing incident at Martinsville. Keselowski tried to save it, car wheel spinned on him, and he came up into Kenseth again. Now, obviously in real time and riding in a cockpit, you would think, yeah, I've had history with his teammate, he's trying to take me out. But quite honestly, I did not see any intent on the part of Brad Keselowski. Now we move over, though, to the incident with Joey Logano and Matt Kenseth. For you guys that may have missed it, you're going to want to go onto YouTube, check out NASCAR's channel, check out the replay or something, because, you know, it could have huge championship implications. A week after he sweeps round 2 of the chase for the championship, Joey Logano is leading. He goes to pass Matt Kenseth, who at this point is damaged and off the pace. Matt Kenseth appears to run Joey Logano over, drives into the corner hard, gets into his left rear, turns him up into the outside retaining wall. Now here's my questioning. I'm fairly certain that there really was intent to turn Joey Logano. Whether it was meant to be that severe, I'm not really sure. Here's the thing that I'm wondering about. The spotter, I believe it was, for the 20 team, came over the radio afterwards and said it looked like you had a tire go down. And Kenseth said, yeah, I did. Now, my questioning is, did the spotter give Matt Kenseth the excuse to use in his interview, I had a tire go down? I have no doubt that Matt Kenseth had a tire go down. My only questioning is, did the tire go down after he drove really hard into the left rear quarter panel of the 22? That will definitely make a tire go down for sure. I don't know if Matt Kenseth really did have a tire go down before he got up into Logano. The end result remains he got into Logano purposely. Whether he meant for the wreck to be so severe, I cannot tell you. Whether or not the tire went down before or after the contact, I can't tell you. My assumption is it was after he got into Logano the tire went down, because I didn't see any tire smoke out of the right front of the 20 when he headed into that corner. And it looked like the wheel well was pretty well away from the tire, so he would not have actually smoked it going into the corner. So, in my opinion, the tire, yes, it went down, but it went down after he got into the 22 car. And, the interesting thing, too, is, the hit that Matt Kenseth took, I'm not rightly sure if Matt Kenseth would have purposely taken a hit like that. He got actually the worst hit out of the two of them, as his car went straight up into the wall. Logano's more kind of side-slapped it. Kenseth took a pretty vicious hit. I'm not rightly sure if Matt Kenseth was willing to put his body on the line and take that smack into the wall to try and wreck Joey Logano that severely. That's my questioning. My thought is he was trying to A, bump the 22 up the racetrack, or B, trying to spin him out. I'm not rightly sure he was trying to drive him up into the wall like that. I think that the tire did go down after the contact, and that was what ended up causing the ferocious hit. So, not that I'm in any way defending Matt Kenseth. I'm simply stating that with people that might say, oh yeah, he blames the tire going down, I think it did. I think he did mean to make contact with Logano, but when he made contact, the left rear quarter panel ended up rubbing into the right front of Matt Kenseth's machine. That's what caused the tire to go down. That's what caused the really vicious hit. I think that what Kenseth was trying to do was trying to knock Logano out of the lead by either bumping him out of the way, moving him up the racetrack, or by spinning him out. I don't think he was trying to turn him up into the wall as viciously as the end result turned out to be. So that's merely my opinion on it. I've looked at multiple camera angles, and I try and be as objective as possible, see it how it really looks to me. Not taking sides in any way, just trying to be as objective as possible and trying to weigh both sides of the story and see if I can come out with a possible outcome of what I think took place. This is merely an opinion talk show. This is not stating facts unless I have a website or something else like that to back it up. Anything else is purely on speculation and merely my opinion. You're welcome to disagree with it. You're welcome to agree with it. I'm just stating the way that I see it. We also end up having another bit of a rivalry take place, which will be we can use as a bit of a side note. Danica Patrick, David Gilliland, and this has been a rivalry which maybe people don't realize has gone all the way back since 2013, back at Kansas. Those two don't really seem to like each other, and we had David Gilliland get into Danica Patrick, move her up the racetrack. He actually didn't spin her out, but then later on, I think it was about 100 laps later, Danica Patrick drives David Gilliland up the track, and not only did she drive him up the track, but she then followed him up the track. Then afterwards, after she spun out, David Gilliland goes on by again, stops, and she runs into the back of him again. So, I don't know what's going to happen with that rivalry, but very interesting there that this has been something that's been going on since 2013, back at Kansas of that year. Those two really at each other's throats. We're going to take our last commercial break. We'll be back for our third and final segment. We're going to look ahead to Texas Motor Speedway and maybe take a little glance at Phoenix as well, into who to maybe watch to be a contender to battle with Jeff Gordon in the Final Four at Homestead Miami Speedway. You're listening to Nnscra Radio on 1620 WCBM, Nelliston, New York.